Hello! So, today we are going to take a look at navigation in the JustFlight Avro Vulcan in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So let's go and jump inside out of the noise so we can actually hear ourselves speak. Vulcan's a noisy so-and-so, isn't it? So yes, we can look at navigation. There's all sorts of subjects to cover here, so we'll be flying around the area trying out different modes to explain what they do. I'm not going to cover everything in this first go, but we're going to talk around a lot of the different modes you can use to navigate yourself around the place. Okay, so first things first, let's have a look at some of the instrumentation. So you've got an attitude indicator here right in front of the pilot. So that gives you pitch and roll. Obviously once we get in the air you'll see it moving around, so it'll make some sense. But the more important thing is you've got some yellow lines. Those are the directors, those are the flight directors. So if you've got guidance in operation, the directors will be reflecting where the aircraft, or where the autopilot is what the autopilot is trying to do. I'm struggling to get words out. The white circles reflect the actual attitude of the aircraft. Okay. Underneath that you've got what we might in the modern aircraft call an HSI, or horizontal situation indicator, and you can see a white bar in the middle. That's the CDI, or course deviation indicator. Where this differs from many modern aircraft is most modern aircraft, they're always aircraft oriented. This one isn't. So you can see the aeroplane is actually on that white bar across, or the white and black bar, that's at the moment is pointing west. And if we go and look on the map, there's a very good reason for that. Our aeroplane is pointing west. Okay. So if we wanted to set the heading for the aircraft to fly, if we were going to operate the autopilot in heading mode, we can roll this knob and that will move our heading marker around the outside of the compass. So it's 22 degrees, I know it's the runway at Waddington, so we're going to set the compass to 22 degrees ready for takeoff. Okay, so when we make our turn onto the runway, we will be aligned with it. But where this gets a little bit complicated to think about is if we push this in, we can rotate the entire compass. And the reason for doing this is you have to think in terms of this being the omni-bearing selector for the guidance system. So if you're using Tacan or VOR radios, you will use this to indicate the course you want to take to the beacon or from the beacon. And then the CDI will reflect that. Okay, it will swing to each side. So how do we actually configure those various modes? So over here we've got the main controls for the guidance systems. So we've got several modes. Bomb mode on the far left is heading mode in a modern aircraft. Remote is if you've got the GPS switched on, which you can do via the tablet in the aircraft. It means the guidance information will be taken from the GPS, so you can follow a GPS route, for example. If you point it straight up, you are in Tacan mode. So to configure the Tacan radios, you go and click on the bottom screw of these two screws. There's a quick shortcut to get to it, and it takes you straight to the Tacan radio panel. The important thing here is you have this lever up for transmit receive, and you have the main switch here swung over to norm, which means it's normal operation. And from then on you've got X and Y for the frequency and the actual frequency number with these two rollers. Okay. So if you're looking at a map, LittleNavMap has Tacan stations, Navigraph doesn't appear to, or it certainly doesn't have the proper frequencies on them. So if you've got 118X for example for Waddington, you can just go into here and put 118X and then the instrument in the cockpit. So if you click the bottom left screw, it jumps back to the cockpit. This has suddenly moved slightly. Look, it's pointing straight at the station relative to the aeroplane. Okay, so you have to remember though that this whole thing rotates, so we'll get more, it'll make more sense once we're flying. So you've got Tacan, you've also got localizer mode, so in other words it's going to follow the nav radios. So how do you tune the nav radios on this? They haven't actually implemented the nav radio panel, but they have given you a knob here and a knob here. So this is the integers for nav 1 and this is the decimals for nav 1, but how do we know what numbers we've tuned? If we go and look at the tablet and go to the aircraft page, click on the microphone, it pulls up this shortcut to see the frequencies that have been tuned. And you can, if you roll the knob there, you can see the integers changing and the decimals changing. If you have tooltips switched on, the frequency also appears in the tooltip for each knob. Okay, obviously as soon as you switch over to using localizer mode, then the instruments will reflect the mode you're in. GP mode is not implemented. So that's your lateral navigation. So you've got the heading mode, GPS, Tacan, localizer. This is your vertical control mode. So in the middle it will just follow the autopilot, whatever the autopilot's doing, but you've also got height mode, you've got approach mode. So in approach mode it will follow the localizer, for example. If you're in localizer mode and you've got approach mode on, you can use it. So we're going to leave it in the middle for the moment, and we'll leave that one in the middle for Tacan. We'll do Tacan first. Actually no, we'll do heading hold mode first, so we'll put that on heading mode. The comp switch is just whichever side of the cockpit you want the compass to use, so you can use the left or the right system. It's just protection against failure, I guess. Okay, so down in the middle of the pedestal you've actually got the autopilot itself. So there's the power plunger. So all of these switches, down is off, pulled up is on. So this one is pulled up at the moment and it's indicated by this magnetic indicator which rolls over to show either on or off. So if we were to turn it off, I'm not going to, that would roll over and go dark like that one. If we engage it, this one will switch off, this one will switch on. Okay? If we want the aircraft to take control, or if we want the autopilot to take control of the direction we're going, we have to click track. If we want the autopilot to take control of altitude hold or climb or descend using indicated airspeed, we have to pull this one up. Okay? So we have to push it down to change it, and then you can pull it up to engage it. Okay? Shall we go and get going then? It's easier to show these things than to talk about them. So we're going to start off with heading mode, remember, and we've already got the heading bug set to the runway direction. So notice this instrument is not rotating. The needle with the circle on is rotating. That's the direction of the aircraft. So I'm just pulling around onto the runway. I'm not going to use head tracking today because I need to look at specific things and not waggle my head around like a lunatic. Okay. So full throttle. A little bit of nose down to hold the nose down. Because it has so much power here, you can see there it tends to lift the nose. So that's 150 knots, we rotate, and we can go into a very steep climb straight away, so get up. So we're watching that indicated airspeed. Look, it's already gone to 180 knots, regardless of what we try to do. So we'll be climbing out towards 250 knots. You can come off the throttle a little bit. And let's roll either way. Okay, first thing we'll do then is move the heading bug to match our direction of travel so we don't get any big surprises. Make sure this is in bomb mode, which is heading mode. Come down to the autopilot. It's already on. We engage it. We pull up track so it will actually track where we're going, and then we can engage altitude hold, and the aeroplane will level out all on its own, and it's now tracking the heading bug. So if we move the heading bug now, so if we wanted to fly at a 60 degree on the compass, the aeroplane is turning. Okay? You can see at the point you pull the altitude hold, it will remember that altitude and it will descend to it if it has climbed beyond it, you know, if it was already climbing. So let's have a look at indicated airspeed mode. So we push it down, roll the mouse, pull it up. So you can see the amount of thrust I've got is allowing it to climb very steeply. And it will keep climbing based on the excess thrust, based on the speed you were doing when you engaged it. If we pull the throttles back, it will descend. So it's doing its best. Look, it will go into a huge dive here, but it probably won't even, yeah, it does have limits, so it won't just continually dive, although it looks like it's going to have a good go at it. If we increase the throttle again, it's going to realise that our speed has gone beyond the reference point we were at, and it's going to use pitch to control the speed. So let's go and put that back on altitude hold for the moment. Wait for it to stabilise itself. Okay, so we're using heading mode at the moment. Okay, and we're flying a 60-degree track, and the aeroplane is pointing the same direction as the heading bug. Let's have a look on the map and see where we are. So we ideally want a Tacan station to tune into. So we'll go for Marham 24X. Okay, so we go and click on the lower screw, takes us to this screen. So we want 24X. Okay, so click the bottom screw, we're back in here. And you can see now it's saying 48 miles away, about 145 degrees off of our nose. So if we use heading bug mode for the moment, so we'll go to 145, 150 probably by the time we get there. So you can see the aeroplane is banking, you can see the attitude indicator there, the outside lines have rotated. And you can see the director wants it to do that, so the aircraft is catching up with the director. Yeah? So that really plays into the same story as the big airliners, where the flight director and the autopilot are two separate systems. So the flight director knows what it wants to do, and the autopilot has to implement that. So we'll just wait until we've turned. And again, to see your current heading, you're going to go and look at the whiskey compass, or binnacle compass, or you can look at the needle here. Okay, so it's levelling the wings out. We're now at the heading bug, so we're flying on the map straight towards Marham. Okay? So let's go and switch the guidance over then to Tacan. So you can see, at the moment, it doesn't make a lot of sense. What we have to do is spin this around to point towards Marham. We have to align the omni-bearing selector ring with the direction we want to be going into Marham. So when we get it in the middle, we'll be going straight towards Marham. There we go. So 150 degrees to Marham, which we already knew. And the aeroplane will be unwinding that bank and banking back to turn right again. Okay, it's very ponderous, the autopilot, so don't expect wonders from it. Let's slow down a little bit, because our turning circle is quite huge. We're doing almost 350 knots. Okay, so we're just waiting for it to come in. Now obviously, because we overshot, look, the CDI has gone off to the right, meaning we're to the left of that line, that 150 degree line. So if we were to draw a line on the map, there's the 150 degrees into Marham. So we're off to the left of it, and that's indicated here, look, by the vertical line being off to the right, so we're to the left of the line, you can see on that little diagram. So the aeroplane will bank left now to straighten up onto the line as it gets closer to it. Yeah, so it's going to gently work its way in towards it. I say gently, look, it's banking like a crazy thing. It's not the most accurate guidance. You can't expect one that you normally get it in the ballpark and then it will hold the radial for you. Okay, so let's go and have a play then with VOR radios. So there's a VOR station over at Waddington, which is there one south of it? Not easily. Okay, we'll just use, actually no, that's a Tacan. Let's use one down further south then. Where's a good one? Where's a VOR when you want one? There's a Honolly. 11365, what's the range on it? 100 miles, yeah, that'd be fine. 11365, so remember we can use these two knobs. So we want 113, we want 650. So I'm looking at the frequency here. So at the moment we're still using Tacan, remember. So it's probably be wise to go and put the heading bug, to put the heading bug in the right place. To continue doing 150 degrees just for the moment. So if we go to bomb mode, it's going to track the heading 150. Notice the CDI shot across there. If we went to localizer mode, you can see it wants to turn right and it's turning right. But we want to, say we wanted to fly directly to Honolly, we'd have to spin this round, wouldn't we? So in the same way you might do with a nav radio or VOR radio, spin it round and the CDI will come in when we're going the right angle. There we go, look, it's about 240 degrees. So the airplane's already turning for it. That was more by luck than judgment. Okay, so then we'll be flying directly for the Honolly VOR. He says, famous last words, yeah, because we've got such a delay on roll, it's not very good at coming out in the right direction. It's gone off by like 20 degrees. And you can see it's trying to adjust it. The director is pointing over ever so slightly. Anyway, which way's the wind? There's no ILS that really makes much sense. There's Doncaster over here. That's quite a little way away though. I just wanted to show you the indication for the ILS. So let's go and tune it in and we'll just use slew to come over here. 110.95. So we'll put ourselves on heading mode. So the heading bug is already pointing the direction we're going. So just going to hold it steady on heading mode. And then we want 11095. So there's 110 and we want 950 as the decimals. Okay. So what we're going to do is use slew now. It was Doncaster I was going for, wasn't it? Yeah. So we need to go that way and we'll just skid the airplane across the countryside so I can put it in the right place, otherwise we'll be spending all day flying over there. Nearly there. Right. So we let go of the autopilot and we go for localizer mode. Now we're also going to need to engage glide mode. you will notice we now have an indicator on the pitch, meaning the glide slope is below us. There's the centre line of the runway, so we're off to the right at the moment. Yeah, so the aeroplane is going to probably go left a little bit. We're not off by far. Yeah. So we are above the glide slope. So let's just turn the autopilot off and just follow the directors. So we'll disengage the autopilot. There's the runway. Yeah, we're far too high for it really. But we'll put these spoilers out and dive down just to show you the directors moving around. And this instrument moving around. So we need to put this on approach mode. And you will see the director come up to indicate where it wants us to be on the glide slope. Turn the head tracking on. Yeah, look, it's slowly coming up. See? So it's coming up into the middle. We're kind of on the glide slope now. So we'll get the gear down. Put the spoilers away, we're slow enough now. Start opening the engines up to manage speed. And we're a bit low, look, so you can see the yellow line has gone above, so we're chasing it back down again. So it's just like an airliner really, you're chasing the director, which is telling you what it wants you to be doing. So the CDI is reflecting we are dead on the centre line, which obviously you can see we are. A little bit low. And that is reflected by the attitude indicator. I'm not going to do anything drastic to recover from being too low. Just losing a bit of speed. Okay, spoilers. Idle on the engines. Just flare. And if you want to, you can put the chutes out at the back as well and then put the wheel brakes on, and you can see rolling in. So hopefully that's been really useful for everybody to see how the different modes work on the autopilot. Obviously I didn't show the GPS, but it's fairly obvious. You just switch this on to remote mode and it will do lateral tracking according to the GPS track. And if you've not seen that in the tablet, if I just turn head tracking off for a moment, if you go and look in the tablet and click on the cog, you can switch on GPS navigation and you get a GNS 430 pops up inside the cockpit. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully I'll see you again soon. Take care.